So we were talking about the pro-aging. It's a very interesting topic. I think in terms of pro-aging, there's one more topic that I think we should touch now, which means EMFACE as a standalone technology and EMFACE in combination with others. What is your opinion, Tomas, for the EMFACE and combination with other technologies?
Well, I'd like to state one thing aside. First of all, when we visit your clinic and we saw that you got a holistic approach to every patient, and then you evaluate the patient needs and don't promote the treatments, I was very happy for that.
Thank you.
Because good clinic is treating the patient, not selling the treatment. And in terms of the holistic approach, we got this philosophy I mentioned earlier, which I think we actually overlap with your philosophy on that once we do something for the patient, we want to be also healthy. So when you talk about the preventive strategy, coaching through the aging process, rather than doing the anti-aging, you are doing the healthy procedures together with procedures which are improving the look. And you put them in synergy. Now, medically speaking, you think of layers of the facial structures from the bone to the skin. The face is interconnected, so these layers overlap. But at the end of the day, there is a very simple philosophy, and I think you actually are very nicely and precisely following that you go for the deepest layers first, the foundation. You see the response of the face. We are all different, so every face may respond differently. So when you see the reaction, you have already some strategic plan what to do next, but you may a little bit adjust it for every individual patient. And with the portfolio of treatments we are talking about, you can address muscles with the EMFACE. We have the solution by Axion to do a connective tissue, the tissue between the muscle and skin, which is responsible for firmness. You can treat that very non-invasively, very pleasant way. A lot of patients fall asleep as they enjoy that. Then you can use for more aged skin microneedling. You can touch up with some ablative treatments, with treatments for the skin texture and color against the sunspots, because we live in the world where a lot of pollution comes to our skin. You can protect upmost skin layers, and you can get a little bit of filling. Today we have modern fillers which are actually stimulating the production of collagen elastin. So you can get much less of this with much better result if you do it together in synergistic manner. So walking the journey with the patient, analyzing at the beginning, but redoing the analysis based on the response on each and single individual patient on every treatment is the most natural, but also effective way how to help these clients. And from what I have seen, from what we have talked about, I think this is your philosophy, and I am very grateful for BTL Vietnam choosing you as ambassador for the EMFACE, because this is our philosophy. Yes, patients want to look better. They want to age better. We cannot stop time. We cannot stop aging, but we can make your skin healthier. We can make you look more fresh. That all can happen. But we want to stay on healthy side of the patient to make sure that after 20 years of relationship with the patient, they will say, I'm happy you treated me this way because I feel good and I am actually healthy. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Tuy nhiên bác Thomas đã nói một điều mà trước mà anh đã cũng có ý định nói là ambassador. Chắc anh chia sẻ một chút. Là bác sĩ Phương sẽ là ambassador cho EMFACE cùng BTL Việt Nam. Và tại sao? Tại vì ở trong hôm nay thật ra là cũng là một cái talk expert, là bên BTL cũng muốn chọn một bác sĩ mà thật sự có rất là nhiều kinh nghiệm. Vì lý do là nhiều kinh nghiệm thì mình phải trả lời mấy cái câu hỏi khó được, và mình sẽ có thể trả lời mấy cái thắc mắc của khách hàng. Chắc anh sẽ đi vào câu hỏi tiếp tục luôn, và cũng khá nhiều khách hỏi là tiêm Botox filler và EMFACE. Vì lý do là mình đang nói là EMFACE tác động vào cơ, nhưng Botox cũng là tác động vào cơ. Thì bây giờ thắc mắc của khách là nếu mà làm thế thì có phải phí tiền không? Vì lý do là mình dừng lại cơ bằng Botox, nhưng mà lại hoạt động cơ lại bằng EMFACE. Bác sĩ Vương có thể collaborate về phần này một chút cho về đánh thêm không?
Cái này nếu mà nói rõ ra thì chúng ta sẽ nhận định về anatomy là giải phẫu của các cơ. Trên gương mặt của chúng ta có rất là nhiều cơ và đó biểu hiện cảm xúc, tại thường đa số cơ trên gương mặt là cơ dính vào da. Khi mà cơ co á, thì nó sẽ làm cho cái da mặt của chúng ta cử động. Và nếu mà, gọi là, tiêm botulinum toxin vào trong những cái cơ của mình á, thì chúng ta rõ ràng là sẽ làm yếu cơ. Đúng hông ạ? Và nếu chúng ta yếu cơ thì chúng ta sẽ làm sao? Chọn những cơ xấu, cơ già, cơ mà hổng có lợi cho mình thì mình sẽ làm yếu nó. Như vậy thì chia làm 2 nhóm, những nhóm mà cơ kéo xuống giống như cái cơ GAO kéo xương gương mặt xuống, hoặc là những cái cơ xấu kéo xuống thì mình mới tiêm vào cho nó yếu đi. Còn riêng những cái cơ mà mình cần nó mạnh lên, giống như là cái cơ để kéo gương mặt lên, giảm được cái sự chảy xệ của cái rãnh mũi má, hoặc là cơ nâng cái cung mài của chúng ta lên, thì khi đấy chúng ta làm sao mà để nâng được? Hiện tại thì chỉ có cách là giống như là tập yoga để mà mình, cân chỉnh cái gương mặt mình, hoặc là chúng ta sẽ làm ngược lại giống như hai cơ nó kéo co với nhau, một cơ kéo xuống, một cơ kéo lên, thì chúng ta sẽ tiêm vào cái cơ kéo xuống để làm cho cơ kéo lên tự mạnh. Còn cái việc mà tập cơ kéo lên thì máy nào hoàn toàn mình đang không có. Và thêm một cái là hồi nãy lý do Mr. Thomas chia sẻ about cái, EMS compare, I talk about like the copycat,
Mhm.
the EMFACE, but that's why the reason I bought the EMFACE because I also like do the R&D for a while, a years to compare the other machine with the EMFACE. Và mình sẽ nói về lý do luôn tại sao mình mua cái EMFACE này. Tại vì cái hai face nó sẽ, selected, chọn lọc những cái cơ kéo lên,
Ừm.
chứ hông phải cơ nào cũng kéo. Đúng rồi, cơ nào cũng kéo thì thằng cũng kéo xuống luôn rồi. Cho nên đó là điểm rất là mạnh để mình chọn EMFACE. Vậy nếu mình giải thích ra rõ thì EMFACE sẽ làm cho mạnh cái cơ kéo lên, hay còn gọi là cơ trẻ. Còn botulinum toxin làm yếu cơ kéo xuống, hay còn gọi là, cơ già. Như vậy là cả hai là tác động hiệp đồng hỗ trợ cho nhau, chứ không hề, gọi là, mâu thuẫn.
À.
Trừ khi chúng ta lộn nha, chúng ta sẽ tiêm botulinum toxin vào trong cơ kéo lên là gương mặt bị tụt xuống, hoặc là chúng ta dán hoặc xài những cái máy mà nó lại làm mạnh cơ kéo xuống, thì cái đó là càng lúc càng càng tệ hơn, đúng hông ạ? Rồi tiếp theo về cái phần tăng thể tích hay còn gọi là filler, thì khi chúng ta tiêm filler vào thì mình cũng không có thể chối bỏ cái việc là filler nó sẽ giúp những cái như là mốc môn nâng đỡ sâu, hóp, thái dương hay là hớp má hoặc là cân chỉnh cái gương mặt. Tuy nhiên, cái hội chứng gọi là overfill thì nó quá rõ rồi, tại vì nó đẹp cho nên người ta cứ hay tiêm hoài. Và càng tiêm gương mặt nó sẽ rất là mất tự nhiên. Nó mất tự nhiên sẽ là hai lý do. Thứ nhất là do chính những cái sản phẩm filler đó nó bị, cục, chưa có tan hết hoàn toàn, tại vì nó chỉ tan là tan HE thôi, chứ cái liên kết chéo, cái cross linking thì nó không có tan. Và ngoài ra cái lý do thứ hai là do nó bị chặn những cái, gọi là, lưu thông những cái, mạch máu, gọi là, hạch bạch huyết, cho nên đôi khi chúng ta sẽ cảm thấy gương mặt xì xẹp hoặc là chúng ta tiêm một thời gian giống như mặt ứ nước vậy á. Thì cái việc mà chúng ta sử dụng EMFACE bằng cái RF hay là high face thì nó lại tự nhiên, nó natural hơn, làm cho gương mặt của chúng ta sẽ tự nhiên hơn nếu như chúng ta đã lỡ tiêm filler nhiều trước đó. Như vậy là nó cũng là tác dụng hiệp đồng, chứ không phải là nó mâu thuẫn gì với nhau cả. Tại vì nếu mà chúng ta nhìn trên bề mặt thì có thể là nghe nó hơi mâu thuẫn, nhưng nếu chúng ta đi sâu vào detail thì chúng ta rõ ràng chúng ta thấy là rất là cần thiết để hỗ trợ cho nhau.
À,
Ừm.
cảm ơn bác sĩ Phương. Bác sĩ Phương đã mention là nếu mà khách ví dụ là tiêm thì là mình sẽ không nên tiêm vào cơ lên. Tuy nhiên hình như là anh đã biết là Tomas đã làm một cái bài nghiên cứu là trường hợp như thế là sao, về lý do nếu mà mình loại ra khách hàng như thế thì mình sẽ bị mất rất là nhiều khách. Thì chắc là anh sẽ hỏi câu hỏi khó về bác Tomas. Tomas, so we're discussing about combination of Botox and filler. But the main question, and I know that's a main concern of people who already have Botox in elevator muscles. I know that we have a clinical study that where the doctors already combining Botox and EMFACE for the elevator muscle, which in theory it should be not working. One is stopping the muscles and they're same, and one is moving the muscle, and it is the same muscle. Can you maybe explain us a little bit more about the clinical study and mechanics of action, so we make sure that all customers, for example, who had Botox or those injection treatment, that are actually safe to go, and why they can still do EMFACE?
Actually, this is the first concern because toxins are known to work fine and effectively and quick, and they're very commercially popular. It was the first concern. Hey, you're contracting my muscles, you'll make my wrinkles. The key is that the target effect of the treatment is not making muscle more contracting by the the EMFACE, but the EMFACE is working on increasing the muscle tone, which means the muscle contracts and relaxes. And we work on better tone when it's relaxed, not when it's contracted. The truth is that if you make it more healthy, it will contract with bigger power, but it does not contract more often because the mechanism of action of the Botox is the biochemical block on the neuromuscular junction, on the joint between the nerve and the muscle. Now, this describes also the fact why we are able, with the EMFACE, to stimulate muscles of people already under the Botox influence. Because you are limiting the synapses connection of this neuromuscular junction, of the transmission from the nerve to the muscle, which is sent by the brain when you want to activate that muscle. Botox is effectively limiting efficacy there. But the EMFACE is sending way more energy than the brain. So then you got way more energy on this point, and you make this muscle contract even if it's actually under the neurotoxin influence. So that's the description why we can do it on people which are under Botox. The second part of description is why it's safe for the results of the Botox. Because we are not biochemically or chemically changing the efficacy of that block. The block stays. The EMFACE is contracting your muscles in 20 minutes time, 250 contractions, and that's it. Not a single contraction more. So when you finish, it's again the original situation when your brain is sending the signal to the muscle to elevate, to smile, or whatever. And then the transmission is still limited due to the previous Botox. Why I'm so sure? Because of the study you mentioned. On the purpose, Dr. Chilukure in Texas performed a study when they injected botulinum toxin type A to the corrugator muscle and procerus muscle area, the center of the frontalis, to limit the frowning, these kind of wrinkles in the middle of your forehead. 1 to 3 weeks after, they performed all 4 sessions, all the package of the EMFACE, and then they took after pictures and after videography showing the mechanics. The result of the Botox was there, and interestingly enough, 1 and 3 months post, the wrinkles were less. The movements were the same, but the condition of the eyebrows elevated a little bit, and the wrinkles on the forehead disappeared even more. Why? Because, I'm back to my original description, the muscle was contracting less, but it was stretching less. So then, the total travel of your skin is shorter. And if the skin moves less, these mimical wrinkles, they are not pushed so much. It's like making the tablecloth on your table more smooth. So the new skin cells which are built there and very constantly building the new skin, they grow in less wrinkly manner. So actually you improve the result of the Botox. Not only that you don't destroy it, it's 100% safe for the Botox results, but you work in very nice synergistic manner and you enhance those results.
Wow. Okay, so Tomas, you mentioned a lot about injectables and Botox. I know we have a master here with injectables and all those modalities. So can you collaborate a little bit more on that?
Yes, of course, and I absolutely agree with your opinion before. We can combine EMFACE and botulinum toxin together because they not conflict together. They have each other. First of all, for the botulinum toxin, they can treat the dynamic wrinkles because they quicken the muscle. But we cannot treat the static lines. And a lot of customers, they come to us after a few months, they say, hey, doctor, why I still have the wrinkle here? But that is not a wrinkle, it's a static line because when the muscle contract, it will destroy and hurt the dermis layer. And for the dermis layer, we have collagen and the skin cells. So when we use the EMFACE, we stimulate not only the levator muscle, but also for stimulate the SMAS and collagen is healing the skin. So it's improve the static line too. So after we inject the botulinum toxin for the dynamic movement, for the movement wrinkles, we also treat for static lines also.
Perfect. This very much harmonizes of what we learned from the The anatomist doctors we work with, Professor Kotofana and Professor Kim, when they describe the biodynamics on the forehead and the static and dynamic wrinkles, and they do cooperate with some of the toxin producers as well, so they got a very long-term experience with people under the influence of the neuromodulators. They say, especially on the forehead with frontalis, there's a big role of support to the dermal and epidermal layers. And this is by the muscle, but the frontalis is a special muscle because it goes from here and it actually anchors on the occipital part of your head. So it travels. To travel, it's locked between two fascias. I know it's too anatomical maybe for a public, but simply there are other structures. And with the long-term volumetric heat by monopolar RF, we are actually tightening even the fascias. So you can imagine you're in the sleeping bag as a muscle. The bag is made of fascias. You tighten this bag so you feel more cozy and you cannot move so much. That's happening here. That supports the lines. And then when the new skin cells are built, they're not that wrinkled. So okay, it's a far anatomy analogy, but it comes from Professor Kotofana himself. And then actually it's a very good understanding why both types of wrinkles, especially in the forehead, are changing based on the better tone of the muscle.
Yeah.
So with your discussion, we're actually, what we can summarize that we're targeting all the customers who are afraid of needles and pain. EMFACE is a great product or a great treatment. Customer who already have a lot of Botox and they're considering a next option. I think it's also a second group which is very great for EMFACE. And the third one, of course, combination of EMFACE and other modalities to have the final best results. So I think that is quite good to say, and not many devices can actually claim all three groups of customers.
Yes.
I think it also interesting fact because Dr. Phương is already actually mentioning overfiller syndrome. I think this is a very good because not many doctors in Vietnam talk about overfiller syndrome, and I think this is also show the Dr. Phương expertise because globally or regionally we already see other doctors like Dr. Ting Song Lim going actually clinical study into overfiller syndrome, and this is a good sign. And this is also the reason why we're having this talk show, and she's an ambassador for EMFACE because this is a long-term vision that is happening on Asian market, and we have to focus and avoid for long term.
I think we harmonize with the modern trends in medicine, and where the aesthetic medicine starts to be more and more functional medicine, because we see with the modern research and all the technology and new drugs available that actually the only proper way in the long term is the natural way. We want to improve the functionality, and then the look comes with it very natural and good way and sustainable way. If you overfill, you may corner yourself in the situation when you cannot really move on with a good effect for the patient. So we very much harmonize with that, and we are happy that we occupy the unique space of foundation in the muscles, but also the connective tissue and upper layers. So we give you a tool which is very compatible to other effective modalities. This is our philosophy, and we are very happy that you are testing and pushing further the experience and protocols for getting the synergistic effect, a more like holistic approach combining different tools.
Yeah.